Well, now it is time for the top 5 segment, and this week it is top 5 all-time favorite sitcoms. I feel like if anyone is a regular listener to this show, you should know what my number 1 is. I mean,
Oh,
come on.
without doubt.
Come on.
Without doubt.
Uh,
And you should know
it's
several on my list because I reference them
yeah,
all the fucking time. But
I know. I'm actually surprised by your number 1. So
are you?
I don't know. I don't know why. I just thought there would have been something different. I really don't know. But I'm super excited about this one because there's a lot of good content on there, and we've literally watched all of these things all the way through. Number 5 for me goes to Thank You for Being a Friend. Yes, the Golden Girls. Come on now. I feel like this concept and this show not only is hilarious, not only gives you so many amazing actresses and like an amazing time of their life, but it also shows you that no matter at what point in your life, you're always going to have some shit that's going on. It's never just going to be calm, cool, collected. You're
Facts.
always going to have some random, goofy drama for no reason. There is going to be all of that light-hearted, like fun stuff, but then you're also going to have the stupid stuff that gets under your skin and that you get over quickly and are able to have the conversations. But I just feel like, the Golden Girls is just such a good example of that to show you that life's one big roller coaster, and as long as you keep that positive attitude, you'll continue moving forward and you'll be just fine. And you got to be thankful for your friends, that's for sure.
Without doubt.
Yeah, man, I mean, come on now, one of the best of all time, the Golden Girls.
Yes, I love that. Just brilliant show from start to finish. Everything about it was fantastic. It's great that it's on your list. My number 5 is Sunday, Monday, Happy Days, Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, just... And look, if you're my age and you grew up in the 70s and 80s, Tuesday night was where you needed to be. I want to give an honorary...
Woo! Tuesday night!
Tuesday night! Woo! What the fuck? Anyway, Tuesday, you had Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Three's Company, just like all these epic Tuesday night shows. And Happy Days, look, how do you get out of when you've been stereotyped as an iconic character? Little Ronnie Howard, Opie, forever known as Opie, right? He's never going to get away from it. How do you get away from it? By creating another iconic character that you will be stereotyped as, Richie Cunningham. Little Ronnie went to Big Ron and became Richie Cunningham. Look, this is a classic look at the 1950s, and 60s. You had the hoods, and then you had the jocks and the preppies and the nerds, and it was just brilliant. And Henry Winkler as the Fonz, I can't even tell you that he wasn't even meant to be the main character. He wasn't even meant to be a star of the show. He was a secondary, but it took off so much that he just took the limelight and just launched. And I'm so excited. I'm going to be meeting him in about a month and a half. I'm so excited to be able to meet him and get his book and have him sign it and talk to him. It's going to be amazing. But this show, it launched so many people. Like I said, it redefined Ron Howard, right? You got Henry Winkler. You get a little guy named Robin Williams. Got us launched on that show, Mork and Mindy. Mork was a guest star in an episode of Happy Days before it got spun off into its own show. Go figure that, right? Mr. Miyagi. Like, so many people. Dumb fuck Scott Baio. Yeah, it was a really fun show about family values, about good people that not always get the right thing done, and somebody that needs to make sure they're taken care of. Hence, Fonz taking care of the Cunninghams, and the Cunninghams taking care of Fonz. It was just how you do it, and so it was a feel good show, and Happy Days. It made me happy.
So good. It obviously made Zoom happy.
Yeah,
no. Number 4 for me goes to Malcolm in the Middle, because not only did so many great actors and actresses come from this show. I mean, you got Frankie Muniz, who is now a freaking race car driver. I think that's hilarious.
And here,
but
he's here, right down the road from me. Like, that's where he races out of here.
But then, I mean, of course, the brilliant Bryan Cranston.
Ugh.
Come on, starting off in this, like he was Steve Carell before Steve Carell,
Yes.
basically, where
Yeah.
he started off in comedy, but now you see like the drama that he is able to bring to the table. But what I really love about this show is it shows you that family dynamic to where like each of the siblings is the same, but also vastly different.
Mm.
And it shows how people can fit into their families when they kind of feel like an outsider. And it shows that you're not the only one who does feel like that, because obviously it is centered on the middle child, Malcolm, who is going through his daily lives. But then, of course, he has the younger brothers and the two older brothers. But it shows you his relationship with everybody and how he's able to go throughout life. And it was just such a hit, popular show. But it, because I go to bed to some sitcoms and animated shows and Friends, but then I can't go to bed to this one because like the theme song is just so loud that I'll wake up every freaking 2 seconds. You're not the boss of me now. I'm like, oh my
Yes.
god. But it's such a good theme song though.
For sure.
But yeah, number four for me, Malcolm in the Middle. I mean, there's never going to be anything like that.
No, no, I agreed. Agreed. It's a brilliant show. Again, that like launched so many people. Like you just don't
Yeah.
realize it's incredible. It's incredible. My number three makes me ask a question. Will you come and knock at my door? Come and knock at my door. Three's Company. I mean, holy shit. Three's Company gave us the incomparable, brilliant, sorely missed, never to be duplicated John Ritter. This man was masterful at pratfall comedy. Like this guy could do it better than anybody ever, and just unbelievable. And Joyce DeWitt and Suzanne Summers, and then Priscilla Barnes, and all the people that came in after. Mr. and Mrs. Roper. Oh my God, two of the best characters ever created. And Mr. Furley, Don Knotts. I mean, just listen. This show did a brilliant job of answering the lifelong question, can men and women be just friends? Platonic. Can straight men and women live together and not have something happen, not get into a romantic relationship? And the question was answered. Yes, they can, as long as one of them pretends to be gay and throw off the landlord. And it was so brilliant. Yeah, I can't say enough about this show and what it did. It just pure physical comedy. The most ridiculous situations. You know it's ridiculous. This conversation is never happening. This event is just not real life. It didn't matter. It was so fucking funny and so over the top ridiculous that it just worked. And they could not, in my opinion, Joyce DeWitt and Suzanne Summers, brilliant, but they could not have done this show without John Ritter. Any other person in the role of Jack Tripper does not work. And I'm just going to say this. If you've never seen the show, first of all, what? But if you've never seen the show, there's this one episode where Jack is afraid to fly. And him and Janet, played by Joyce DeWitt, are going to this party. And it's very important that it's an important party for Janet. And she needs everything to be like impressed. And everybody needs to put on a good... Well, he ends up taking some drugs to deal with flying. And they kick in at the party because he mixes them with alcohol. Dude, the shit that he does in this episode, the dancing, the pratfalls, the flips over couches, he does this little dance with the flower pot on his head. It is the single greatest episode of comedy with pratfall and ridiculous over the top that I've ever seen him. How he did it with a straight face, I will never fucking know. But he's basically drunk and high, and he's telling everybody he runs into that he's a different profession. He's a doctor, he's a lawyer, he's this, he's that. While he's doing all this stuff... I don't. If you ever want to catch this one episode of this show to make you hooked and want to watch it, it's that episode. And yeah, just fucking brilliant. And one of our buddies, Jason Ritter, is in the opening credits of one of the seasons of the show. He's the little boy at the zoo. Just a little trivia there for you. Yeah, Three's Company. Just
I love it.
Fucking brilliant, man. Brilliant.
Oh yeah, for sure, man, for sure. It's good to hear because I never really got to experience a lot of John Ritter stuff. So when I went back and watched what was that, Eight Simple Rules?
Oh,
It's so good. It like I mean, just the dynamic that I've seen on that show, and I mean with Kaylee Cuoco, and like yeah, it's just he's such an amazing actor, and I'm so privileged, and we're so lucky to get to be a part of something that is bigger than us. With
yeah.
Freeze HD and our friendship with Jason Ritter and the family. And it's been an amazing time. And I'm happy we've been able to be a part of something like that.
Yeah, and kudos to Jason and Tyler and the whole family, because they are a testament to who John was,
Yeah.
and they are following in his legacy of being those type people. And if you ever need to wonder, just talk to Jason Ritter for half a second, and you'll understand who John Ritter was and the type of
Yeah.
children that he raised, and Kaylee Cuoco, like you said, for that matter. Listen to her talk about that relationship with him and what that meant, and yeah, it's something really special. It's something really special.
It It is, man. It is. Well, number three for me goes to Scrubs. I
Ah,
freaking love
yes.
Scrubs. I remember being a little kid watching Scrubs, and just being like, I can't do this all on my own. No, I'm no Superman. And all of these freaking have great theme songs. I mean, come on. But I just love this because it's one of those shows that, you know, it's kind of like a couple of other different sitcoms, but in a different format with centered around being a doctor and that profession. But I love it because, being in your 20s and trying to find yourself as an adult and not being a kid anymore, but still also having some kid goofy qualities, is something that I feel like is very, very special,
Oh, without
and
doubt.
the dynamic that whole team brought together. I just feel like it was something special and maybe even a little ahead of its time. I know it was a decently popular show when it was on, but I do feel like it was a little ahead of its time. I also love too the freezing moments where JD is trying to figure out what's going on in his head and how he's trying to interpret other people's thoughts and other people's opinions and things like that, because I feel like a lot of us do that nowadays where we're
Oh,
trying to
yeah.
we're in a conversation and we're trying to interpret, and then like we're trying to interpret what they just said, but then we also are doing that at the same time they're saying something else to where we are not even listening to what they're saying. So that it's something that I feel like I can relate a lot to. And Bill Lawrence, he created something truly special, and I feel like what he's done in current daytime is truly special too, and I'll get into that a little bit later on in my top five. But yeah, Scrubs is number three.
There you go. Great choice. And I love how they've kind of rekindled it with the commercials, the cell
All
commercials and stuff.
right,
I,
it's
I
so
love that.
funny.
It's so good. So good. My number three, I want to preface, it's a great sitcom. And I'm going to talk about a little bit how it was one of the first ones to really highlight the point that a woman can be the breadwinner in a family and bringing home the money and being successful while the man stays at home and takes care of the family. That was the highlight of the story of what it was about, right? But there is literally one reason and one reason only that I gravitated to this sitcom and watched this sitcom. That's because I was over the top in love with Alyssa Milano. We're right there around the same age. And yeah, I had it bad. I'm not even gonna lie. I had it bad for Alyssa Milano. Little Samantha Maselli on Who's the Boss. My number three is Who's the Boss. And it was a great show. Tony Danza's brilliant. Judith Light, the late Catherine Hellman, Danny Pintoro, all of them fantastic. All of them. But it was Alyssa Milano. I was tuning in every week to see Alyssa Milano. Like,
That's
I
it.
had her Teen Steam shit posted all over my wall. I had the workout video. I'm not even going to fucking... I may or may not still have a crush on Alyssa Milano. I might still be crushing. I'm just saying. Say what you want about her. Like, she went on to Charmed and all this, and now she's a political activist and all. Say what you want. But I
It's fine.
probably still have a crush on Alyssa Milano. I think I may always have a crush on Alyssa Milano. But aside from that, like I said, I want to emphasize, this was one of the first sitcoms that really kind of said, they took it to that level of, Angela is the breadwinner. She's the big corporate person. She is, Tony's the former baseball player that's now a housekeeper, just looking for a way to take care of his kid. And that change of dynamic as to who runs the house and who is in control. Because really back at that time, it's kind of taboo. Men are the breadwinner. The woman stays home and takes care of the family. It's not the other way around. And they took cracks at that. Tony took ribbing for that. What do you mean he's the housekeeper? Is he like your lover? Kind of a, and so they really did a lot to get rid of the stereotype and the stigma attached to women in the workplace and being able to have a family regardless. She was a single mother with a son. And so it was a very important show during its time. Matthew Perry, Nicole Eggert, like so many people went through that show. The late great Ray Charles. There's this one episode where this guy is like hopelessly in love with Samantha, and Samantha just won't give him the time of day. And he writes this song for her, and Ray Charles performs the song. It's called "Always a Friend." We've all been friend zoned. We've all been friend zoned, and the song is basically about being friend zoned. You're desperately in love, but you're always a friend. Brilliant episode. Fucking Ray Charles hitting it home. And so anyway, my number 3, I just fucking love this show. Who's the Boss? And Alyssa, call me. Come on the show. We'll talk about my crush. Come on. We'll talk about you're doing comic books now. You're political activist. Come on. We've got so much to talk about. Come on.
Oh my goodness.
Just saying.
Well, anyway, my number
No
2.
balloons for that. What the fuck? I'm professing my crush to Alyssa Milano. I didn't get fireworks. I didn't get fucking balloons. What the fuck?
Oh my goodness. Even Zoom was like,
Zoom's like, calm down, man.
Yeah. My number 2 goes to Ted Lasso. Another freaking amazing one on Apple TV Plus. Again, we were talking about quality over quantity. This show is absolutely amazing. I brought up Bill Lawrence earlier for Scrubs. He is the showrunner for Ted Lasso. So I feel like, with everything that we are in with society nowadays, where people judge you off of the cover. They don't read the book. They judge the cover. That is definitely what this show is, because, you have an American football coach, a literal football coach, who comes over to England to coach soccer, their football. And everybody thought, it was a dumb decision. It was going to be stupid. And of course, he brought his Southern charm, and it makes for a great comedy. And you do get a lot of comedy as well. But then they do lead into a mental health aspect where not the people wear masks, and not everything's cracked up as it seems to be. So I think it's a very great representation of that, and it's a great freaking show. If you haven't checked out Ted Lasso yet, it is definitely worth the watch. It's an amazing show. It's truly something special. It is a true testament to current day sitcoms, because there's not a lot that are successful nowadays. So it is a true testament to current day sitcoms. So yeah, number 2 for me, Ted Lasso.
Wow. Yeah. Just, that was a really good description and a really nice tribute to that show, because it is all that, and it's fantastic. And if you're a sports fan, you should be watching that show. Just any sport fan, you should be watching that show. It's so true. My number 2, I have to say, this is probably one of, if not the best created written character for a sitcom ever. I'm talking about Kelsey Grammer's Frasier, who was written as a guest star on Cheers and went over so well he became a regular on Cheers, got his own show based on the character, has played the character in several different shows, like crossing over, just amazing. But Frasier, I'm talking about Frasier. It is one of the most intelligent sitcoms. It has you laughing your ass off. There's no doubt about it. It's funny, but it's intelligent. It's a sitcom that while it has you laughing, it has you thinking. And what a brilliant thing. What a brilliant concept that if you can make someone laugh, but also make them think and have them have to decipher what they're watching, what they're going through, what they're looking at. I think that's just brilliant. And Kelsey Grammer's just performance as Frasier, I've just never seen anything like it. It's an absolutely brilliant performance of this character. And I am so thrilled that it's coming back. And that they're giving us the next phase of life for Frasier and where he's at now, and the son is grown up. Will we see Lilith? That's the thing. Will we see Mom Lilith? Just, yeah, I can't say enough about this show and the performance by Kelsey Grammer. It is one of my all-time favorite shows, and I just legitimately think one of the most intelligent characters ever created for television. I just think it was a brilliant job. If you haven't watched it, check it out. Frasier. Watch it and then get excited for the follow-up that's coming, because I think it's going to be brilliant.
Yeah, for sure. I really thought this one was going to be your number one because it is such an intelligent sitcom. Like, there's a lot of things that I feel like, I don't know, nowadays everything is kind of dumbed down. There's
Yeah.
certain shows that do give you that satisfaction when it comes to that, but I feel like Frasier was ahead of its time, and I feel like it was also perfect for that time. So it's one of those shows that I feel like could have gone on for years and years and years, and we'll see how long this revival goes on.
Yeah.
It's a great one. Frasier Crane, those tossed salad and scrambled eggs. Great theme
Yes.
song. Great
Yes.
freaking theme song.
I like what you just said, though, about dumbed down. This show at no point ever dumbed down for the audience. This was an intelligent comedy, which you just don't get. It's rare. And yeah, I love that you use that term, because I think it would be an insult to the character of Frasier Crane and to the performance that was created by Kelsey Grammer to dumb it down for the audience.
Oh, yeah.
He's supposed to be an elitist. He's supposed to be an intelligent guy who thinks he's above you. So to dumb it down to your level would defeat the purpose of the character. So
Exactly.
it was brilliant writing from start to finish. And yeah, just Frasier. I fucking love it. Oh,
So
man.
good, so good. Well, we are here. It is my number one. Has anybody made a guess yet? Because come
Duh.
on, I feel like you should know. My number one is Friends. Come on. I mean, just yeah, I recently just got back into it, started watching it again, and it's so good. It's so classy. And I mean, of course, they could have been better with diversity. Of course, things could have been better in certain situations. But it's still one of the greatest shows of all time. It's still one of my favorite shows of all time. And I will never, apologize for that.
No,
That is
no.
definitely, I just feel like a lot of people like to hate on a lot of things. And we need to flip that narrative to where, hey, why can't we just love a lot of things? But yeah, it's a great dynamic of being in your early 20s and growing into parents, growing into people, and just trying to make it and find yourself in a career field as, an individual person. It's just, yeah, it's my favorite. And always remember that I'll be there for you. So
Yes.
there it is.
Nice pivot. Pivot. Now, you know what I love about that show? It's cross generational. Because
It is.
I watched when it was its original run, right? Like when
Yeah.
it was a brand new show just coming on. I watched it become the massive hit that it became through its original run. And then to see my daughter and you and this generation catching it and going, oh, and viewing it the way I viewed it when it first was on, it's amazing to see a show be able to capture generation after generation as if it was brand new, as if they were
Yeah.
seeing it for the first time. And it's this massive hit. And Friends does that. There's no doubt about it. Friends crosses those generational lines and does that for every audience. And I think that's fantastic. Yeah, it's a great pick. It was a phenomenal. Yeah, you can't argue.
Yeah.
It was
And I
brilliant.
did watch it in its original run too, because I've told you, like, and I've told the world that my mother was obsessed with
Oh
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I remember the finale when it actually went off, and then all of them showing up on Oprah the next day when Oprah had her own show.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those things, man. I loved it. We even recorded it on our VCR. Like,
Yes, yeah. Of course you
it was
did. Of
so funny.
course.
Heck,
Um,
come on.
I gotta say, before I reveal my number one, there's so many honorable mentions. I feel like we should come back to this because I could do this list like 20 more times. Like MASH and All in the Family and Barney Miller and the Jeffersons and Good Times and just like Different Strokes and Facts of Life. I could literally just pour on sitcoms that were part of my growing up that were so instrumental in my growing up. Sitting around, back in the day when families actually sat around the table and watched these sitcoms, these shows, Growing Pains, and like all these things, Full House, and just, so we should come back to this one, okay? We should come back and do this again with our next fleet of favorite sitcoms. But my number one, and I chose this as my number one because this is definitively true, and I will state it wholeheartedly fact. Hook me up to the lie detector, do whatever you want. This is the only sitcom, the only show that made me laugh every single time. There's not a single episode, and I'm talking laugh out loud, like literally burst out into loud laughter in the middle of wherever I'm at when I watch it. It is the only show that has ever made me do that. There's not a single episode of this show that I can watch that at least once I won't burst out into loud laughter. And if that is not what a situational comedy is supposed to do, I don't know what is, you know? This was, again, another intelligent show that poked fun at intelligence and poked fun at the nerds. I guess that's another reason I love it so much, because they're comic book geeks. They're comic nerds. They're sci-fi nerds, but they're smart. And I felt like that's always my people. So I couldn't help but love this show. And like I said, it's truly the only sitcom that has ever made me laugh out loud in every single episode. So it had to be at the top of my list. Big Bang Theory. And talk about a phenomenal cast. I mean, if you were going to, you talk about ensembles, right? Like Friends and Seinfeld and like all these great, but how do you, because now you got to live up to that bar. How do we get there again with all these ensemble casts that were so brilliant? Cheers and MASH and all these legacy shows. Big Bang. That's how you do it. Yeah. You assemble this cast, and they're legends now. Those characters are iconic. All you need to say is Sheldon. All you need to say is Penny. You know. You don't even have to go any further. You just know who they are. And, my number one, the Big Bang. And talk about God rest his soul, right? Smash Mouth. But great freaking theme song. It's a theme song that as soon as you hear it, what do you think about? You don't even think about the band anymore. You don't even think about the song. You think about Big Bang Theory as soon as you hear the song. It's just, brilliant show.
Exactly. Oh, my goodness. Well, yes, that is our top 5 all-time favorite sitcoms. And we want to know, what is your favorite sitcom of all time? Be sure to leave a comment below in the YouTube section or the podcast section. We love the fan interaction.
That's a tough one. I bet we get a lot of responses for that one because there's so many beloved sitcoms, right? Like,
so many.